Hey guys, I'm Josh from Layzee Acres. Thank you for tuning in. We are saving the world here, one trailer at a time. Today, we are going to do an orientation video on a passport. And this is going to apply to the GT passport, the Superlight passport. The idea with this video is just to take you through the basics of how to operate something so you know what you're getting into. With getting into a passport, maybe you can watch this before you pick it up so you know you have the right questions to ask. That's the point of this. It's not going to be flashy, not going to be salesy. We're just going to kind of take our time and go through things. We do have Brendan Hannemeyer on the camera today. He's going to give us an input, see if I've missed something. Maybe he knows something I don't. Unlikely. Yeah, let's get through it here. First things first, for our hookup right through here, we have a 2 5/16 ball on all of these passports. To make yourself legal, you're going to bring the ball up and in, lock the coupler on top of the ball, put a pin in. That's the first thing. Then you have your chains. Alright, these need to crisscross underneath the hitch, hook up to the vehicle like so. The reason they need to crisscross is if the trailer ever becomes unhooked, it's actually going to cradle in these chains and not hit the ground. So that's important. That's our second thing. Then we have ourselves a breakaway cable. Breakaway cable is to activate the brakes in the trailer. If the trailer ever becomes unhooked from the truck, this pulls out, activates the brakes in the trailer so the trailer's going to follow you down the road. This has to hook up to a separate link, so some kind of quick link to the truck itself, to the vehicle itself. That's your third thing. And then you have your lights. So that's a 7-way cable here. To operate a trailer that has a 7-way, you need to have a 7-way in the back of the vehicle, and you need to have a brake controller in the vehicle itself. So that plugs in. Excellent. So 4 things: pin, chains, breakaway, and lights. Key to the lights, you have to have a brake controller. With all these passports, you should have a weight distribution as well. If you've got into like that centerline TS hitch, which is almost everything we sell, it's a Husky centerline TS. We've done a video on that showing you how to apply and unapply that, so maybe put that link down below, Chrissy, so they can click on that if they want to. Now our jack is right here, pretty straightforward, up and down, extend, retract, on, off for the light. If you have an issue with power and you're not able to get power to the vehicle, whatever, you can pull this black plug out of here, put a crank on that, and crank this up manually if you need to. So that's that. Front propane is right through here. This tank over on this side is actually an empty tank, but I grabbed the used one from the used trailer here that we're going to hook up. So we've got that one hooked up. Always make sure the valves are pointing to the trailer. Basically, there's a collar that lifts up like so. Of course, I make this look awkward. Okay, so that just clasps down on both sides of the tank there. Tighten this down to hand tight, and then just keep going around a couple times here. Tighter the better. Then you have a QEC valve here. These are righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Okay. Now this is a tank that has propane, but we're going to pretend that both have propane for today. Whatever tank this valve is pointing at is the tank it's drawing off of. Once this tank goes empty, this piece of clear glass here is going to turn red, and it's automatically going to start drawing off of that tank. Then what you can do is you can come here, you know this tank's empty because you see the glass turning red there. You flip this over to that side. This tank's still on. You're able to turn off this tank, take this one, get it filled, bring it back, hook it back up. Then when that tank goes empty, this will go red. You'll know that tank's empty because this is red. You flip this over, and then you can take that tank off and get filled. Just kind of back and forth like that. Your tanks last 10 years. Get them revalved in 10 years, easy peasy. We'll turn that on right now. I probably turned it on a little too fast. You're supposed to kind of slowly turn that on just because so that there's like a pressure release there that if you turn on too fast, it will pop that close. So turn these tanks on slowly. Don't turn them on fast like I just did there. They're going to come from Layzee Acres with a battery in a box. So when you get your trailer, there'll be a little box around here. On these passports, black is negative, red is positive. If you're not using the trailer, you're going to disconnect your negative lead. Okay, so if you're not using the trailer, it's just sitting in the driveway, sitting in storage, or whatever. Take off the negative lead, and then the smoke alarm, or sorry, the propane detector, the radio won't slowly draw down the battery. For the winter, bring your battery inside. Do not store it on a concrete floor, but bring it inside. Don't leave it outside in the cold on the trailer. It's going to freeze and break and be useless. So bring it inside for the winter. Disconnect the negative lead for when you're not using the trailer. There's a cover that goes on top of these tanks. That just slides on over top. And there's a little bungee cord that bungees underneath there holding that down. Right on. So inside of our convenience center here, which is new for 2021. For 2020, the stuff was kind of all scattered around the outside, but the same rules apply. So you have a city water connection here. So you have water at the site, comes in, hooks up. Whatever pressure you have on that hose is pressure on the trailer. So you should use what's called a water pressure regulator valve, keeping the pressure below 65 psi. So yeah, use a water pressure regulator. Whatever pressure you have there, you have pressure to the taps. Then you have a freshwater fill. So this is if you don't have water at the site. You're going to fill that up before you leave home, when you walk into this, or when you drive into the site, and then you're going to use the water pump that's in the trailer, which we're going to get to. You turn that on, and that's going to pump water from the tanks to your taps. When that tank is, you just basically take this cap off here, stick the hose in. When the tank is full, the water's going to start splashing back out at you. You do have an outside shower here. Pretty straightforward. Quick little air fitting that fits on there. Hot and cold. The big thing is a lot of people forget to winterize this. This guy right here is pretty straightforward. It's kind of a fancy way of just saying cable and satellite. Basically, if you have cable at the site, you bring it up through this hole right through here, hook up the cable. If you have satellite at the site, you hook it up through there. So if you've brought your own satellite, you set it up, bring it in through here, and it's going to hook up to that. We're going to get to a little more on the inside, how the ins and outs of that work, but that's how you hook that up from the outside. You have extend and retract for the jacks. There'll be a switch for the front jacks, a switch for the front jacks, all in through here. They're going to come down together, okay? Once the first side touches, it's going to stop. The other side's going to continue down. Once they both feel pressure, then they're going to lift up together, put even pressure on either side. These are not levelers, they're stabilizers. So you're going to ask me, how do I level my trailer, Josh? And I'm going to say, great question, customer. You're going to back up on the site, okay? And then you're going to put a level on the floor of the trailer, right through here, okay? Side to side. We're going to figure out the side to side first. If we're low on this side, let's say, we're going to drive the head off the site, put a piece of 2x6 where the wheels would go, so you're going to drive up on that piece of 2x6, and you're going to drive up back, and you're going to come back here and check again. Are we level side to side now? No. We still have to go up a little higher. Okay, pull ahead, put another piece of 2x6 down, drive up on that, okay? Once you're level side to side, then you're going to take the truck off the trailer, get it all unhooked, take your stabilizer bars, everything off, and then you're going to turn this level front to back. And we're going to level the trailer with our front end jack. All right, so we've already done side to side, we've done front to back with the front end jack, and then we're going to bring our stabilizers down. We're going to bring them down till they're tight and maybe pick it up half an inch or so. But those jacks are not for leveling, they're for stabilization. The motor for these jacks is actually on the other side. A manual override for the jack, so if you don't have power, the motor craps out or whatever, is right in through here. See that little spigot down there? You hook up there's a handle that comes with the trailer, fit it on there, and you can bring those up manually if you have an issue. Okay? Awesome. Coming around here, these passports are a cable style slide. There's really not a lot of maintenance to do on that. There is a manual override. Remind me to show that inside, Brandon. The only real maintenance you can do is you can lubricate your seals here. Use like a car seal lubricant, spray that on a rag, up and down the bulb seal, up and down on the wipe seal. But that's an above and beyond maintenance item there. While we're talking maintenance though, get up on your roof, check your seals every 90 days. We've done a roof maintenance video. You drop that in the description, Chrissy. But you gotta be up there checking your seals every 90 days. If you don't, the trailer leaks. So get up there and check that. We're gonna come back to this. This is our Blackwater flush kit. But there is your sewer right here. The valves themselves are labeled. You have a gray water valve and a black water valve. Instead of being down there, we'll just do a standing up. So let's say you have sewer at the site. Okay, you're right there. You clip on your sewer hose. It just goes on like so, twists on. You put that hose into the ground. We have sewer at the site. We're fully hooked up. You can leave your gray water open, okay? That's your sinks and your showers. You can leave that open. That will run out as it builds up. The black water, though, you've got to make sure you leave that closed. If you leave the black water open, the liquids are going to run out and the solids are going to build up in the bottom of the tank. So leave the black water closed. You're okay to leave the gray water open. Leave the black water closed. Once the tank is full, the week's over, the weekend's over, whatever it is, you're going to close your gray, open up your black, and the black is going to flush it all at once. Black is your toilet water. So that's going to flush it all at once. Make sure, though, when you go to drain your black water, you close your gray water first. Otherwise, there's a chance it can kind of backfeed up into the gray water tank. So that's how you do that. With the black water open, you can then hook up a hose here to your black water flush kit, turn the water on. There's a hose that goes from here up, down into your black water tank and sprays down the inside of the tank. It's very, 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 very important that you have the black water open when you hook up your black water flush kit. Okay? And then, yeah, you just run that for a few minutes until the tank's clean, turn the water off, shut your valves, you're good to go. Now, if you're going to a spot with a dump station, okay, same kind of principle, but obviously you're going to roll into the dump station, all right, hook up your hose, run the hose into the dump location, pull one valve at a time. Usually people do the black water first, let that run out, hook up their black water tank to here, their hose here to the black water flush kit with the black water open, and then once that's clean, they'll shut the water off here, close the black water, open up the gray, and let that go after. All right, so the key there is leave the black water closed when you have sewer, open up one valve at a time, and whenever you're using the black water flush kit, make sure you have the black water open. That feels okay, Brendan?
Yep.
These passports, the smaller ones will be 30 amp service. The big passports, not big, the bigger passports will be 50 amp service. This is a 221, so we're 30 amp service. The reason we're 30 amp service is we're only meant to have one AC on this model. If you're using an adapter like this down to 15 amps, you can't use your AC. You can use everything but the AC, but you can't use the AC. If you have a 50 amp passport and you've adapted down to 30 amps, you can't use two ACs. You can only use one AC. Most passports, no one really does two ACs on a passport, but if you get one, you add a second AC on it with the 50 amp service, and you only have 30 amps, you will only be able to run one AC at a time. But otherwise, if you're adapted on 15 amps, you're able to use everything you want, just not an AC. There's the blue light there letting you know you have hydro. Good as time as any to talk about the tires. These are aluminum rims on the body of the trailer itself. They're meant to be torqued down to 110 foot-pounds, okay? When you first get home, you should torque those down again because this is the first couple trips. So keep an eye on that for the first few trips. Keep torquing those lug nuts down. You do that in a star pattern, okay? The 14-inch tires are going to be filled up at 50 psi. I'm just going to check my... scratch that. 65 psi. Just go to your passport because there are different size tires on each passport and read the psi. So this one says 65. You should have it at 65 psi at all times. The main reason why you have like uneven tire wear or blowouts or something like that is because your tires aren't at the right pressure. So make sure you have those at the max pressure. Some of these will have like a secondary door. All right. Typically, you're going to have a few different keys here for a passport. You'll have a key for your secondary door, a key for your main door, and then a key for your baggage compartments. Okay, so you just have to kind of get used to that, which keys for what door. Roof ladder, we talked about it. We talked about going off the roof, that's important. You have a spray port here. This is kind of like an outside shower, but just not hot and cold. It's just cold water. Again, people forget to winterize that. That's a big deal. Fridge, you have an on-off for that inside the fridge. That's really straightforward. Your burners, you pull these out. You're going to have a designated hose right through here. All right, that has like a quick connect fitting on it. There you go, right there. And that's going to hook up down below the unit. I'll show you where that is here. So Brendan, I guess you already showed that, Brendan. The it's like an air fitting, okay? So you just pull the sleeve back, shove the hose in, pull the sleeve forward. That sleeve, though, doesn't work when you have the valve in the off position, in the on position. So you have to have the valve that's on the quick connect in the off position, so against the gas line. then you hook up your hose and then turn it back on. All right. There's a little cap there, usually like a yellow or blue cap that covers that fitting. Make sure you have that in when you're traveling, so debris and stuff like that's not getting in through there. Your outside receptacle. This is attached to your GFI that's inside the trailer. So if that's not working, it's most likely because your GFI is kicked inside. You have an on-off for those lights that are on the awning there. Outside speakers, you have an on-off for that on the radio. Range hood vent. Basically, there's tabs here that you have to have in the down position for the vent to push out that flap. And then when you're traveling, you gotta make sure these tabs are up, because otherwise, the flap there will go flap, 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 break. So have those in the up position, holding that that flap closed when you're traveling, down when you want to vent outside. Other maintenance items: you should lubricate your stairs so they don't get too stiff on you. You should lubricate your jacks and lubricate all your door locks and your front coupler. Just use like a dry Teflon lube, something that doesn't attract dirt and debris. Some of these passports will have the secure step that will fold inside the door, so the GT series will do that. The one key on those is there's, just imagine I've brought them down. There is like adjustments in those legs, so you'll need to adjust those depending on the debris or depending on the terrain. Whenever you have the door open, all right, and so we've just brought those stairs down. Okay, we're gonna make sure that the stairs clear the door. Okay, because sometimes they rub on the bottom piece here, and you may have the stairs adjusted up too high. So make sure those are adjusted down enough so that the door doesn't collide with them and you don't bend your door. That's the handle to bring up and down the stabilizer jacks manually if you need to. There's another handle over there just to bring down your front power jack if you need to. There's a light there, on and off, easy peasy. Well, we're on the outside here, so let's do the awning. We're going to get to the control panel here shortly, but we're just going to push extend where it says awning here. Bring that out. These awnings are not meant for really rainy situations, all right? And they're not meant for windy situations at all. So you bring this out, you just hold this button for 30 seconds or whatever it is. Once the awning's all the way open, there's a valance that will hang down at 90 degrees. You'll see it here in a second. So see when that valance is at 90 degrees? That's how far the awning should go. If you keep extending it, it's actually going to start rolling up backwards. Not the end of the world, but it'll look silly because it'll be a white awning on the outside. Like I said, not guaranteed for really rainy situations, and not guaranteed at all for windy situations. Those are not warranty items if your awning breaks in those situations. If you want to create pitch, so if you want to lower one side down or the other, you grab this piece right here, pull down. All right, and now we're pitched this way, away from the outside kitchen, or vice versa, whatever you want to do there, just to run out the water off one side or the other. All right, bring it back up to parallel for when you bring the awning up and in. All right, we'll have a look inside, guys. Do the inside stuff. We skipped over the water heater, guys, so not much really to talk about here. Just for winterization, watch that winterization video we've done. This has a cap on the water heater because they're Atwood water heaters, so that's just to drain the tank itself. All right, so that's really all you're doing here is to winterize. You take off this hose, this cap here. That's all you're doing. You're not touching this vent or this pressure relief valve. You're not touching the propane. You're not touching anything. The only thing you'll ever do out here is if you winterize the trailer yourself, you're going to drain that the water heater through there. Awesome. We'll flip inside. Right on, guys. Let's go through the inside stuff here for this Passport. Like I said, this might not be your exact model, but we're going to try touching everything that applies. So first thing is you have yourself a fire extinguisher, which is usually right by the door. We have ourselves a what is that? Is that a smoke alarm? That is a smoke alarm. Carbon monoxide is over through here. They just look the same from the outside unless you read the label. So carbon monoxide is over through here. And then your propane detector is always near the floor. All right, so it may be different locations on your particular model. Where is it, Josh? Come on, Josh. Focus, buddy. Great. Great. Now I look silly.
Bathroom?
possible. Oh, right here. Okay. So the propane detector is always near the floor because propane sinks. Sorry, it took me a little bit to find that, but that's what it looks like. Find it in your trailer. That one is plugged right into the trailer itself. So if your battery in the front starts to get low, you're not plugged in, it's going to start to beep once every 30 seconds. Okay, so that's not an alarm. That's a low voltage alarm, letting you know it can no longer detect propane. So yeah, just the key in there is if this goes off, like it goes off like an alarm, the first thing you do, you walk outside the trailer, leave the door open, turn off your propane on the tanks, and then you call somebody. Okay, so that's how you handle if you have a propane leak. You're gonna walk out of the trailer, leave the door open, turn off your tanks, and call somebody. The other detectors are just that they have 9-volt batteries in the detector themselves. You're going to need to check those, every half a year or whatever. Always test those as well. Let's go over here to where the everything here is kind of controlled. We have a radio, all right, on and off, easy peasy. Radios are radios, right? So you can mess around with that if you want. One of the keys is though we have a zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 2 will be outside, zone 1 will be inside. You have AM, FM, auxiliary, USB, but you can play around with that. GFI outlet, that's going to be connected to the outlets in the washroom. This light switch right here is usually for accent lighting. Okay, so some kind of accent light in your model. You have an in and out for the slide and in and out for the awning. With these cable slides, they're really easy. They just go all the way out or all the way in, and they just stop. There's nothing really to do other than that. When you close a slide though, and you've been there for like a week or so, and there's debris on the slide, make sure, if there's debris up there, make sure you have a ladder so you can get up there, sweep that off, because you don't want the debris to get jammed in there when you close a slide. Some of you will have a couple slides, a couple awnings, that'll just depend on the floor plan, but the operation is the same. The water heater, like I said, there's nothing you touch on the outside, but to turn the water heater on, you flip it on gas or you flip it on electric. Okay, if you go to run your water heater on electric, you want to be sure that there's water in the tank. If there's not water in the tank, you can flip this on, and in 2 minutes time you'll have a blown element. So it's really important that you have the water in the water heater tank itself. The surefire way of doing that is I would try it on gas first. Flip it on gas, let it run its course, open up the tap. If you have hot water come out the tap for a minute or two, then you know for sure you have water in the tank, and then you can shut it off on gas, flip it on electric. So that's what I like to do. Nothing saying here that you can't run them both at the same time. That's perfectly fine. Then you have a water pump. So the water pump on your particular trailer will be located in different locations, but you turn that on. That water pump is going to pump water from the freshwater tank that we filled on the outside and pump that to your taps. That is separate from the city water connection. So you're only doing that if you don't have water at the site. If you have water at the site, you're hooked up to the city, don't touch the pump. If you fill the tank and you're dry camping, like you don't have water there, then you come in here, turn the water pump on, easy peasy. Porch light, that's easy. Main ceiling lights, that's easy. This here is your monitor panel, so we can see how full the battery is, see how full the fresh water is, see how full your black water is, how full the gray water is. Different floor plans will have a different amount of tanks. So that's why they have black 1 and black 2. We're in a 221 today. It only has 1 black water and 1 gray water. So you're black 1 and gray 1. You can trust the gray water, you can trust the fresh water, you can trust the battery. You cannot trust the black water. The black water will read false. Your tank will be empty, but it'll still be reading 2/3 full. Fortunately, that's just the way it is. Okay. There's not really a way around that. You can try to keep your tank as clean as possible. It's just not going to work that well. Okay. So the black water tank monitor panel is not a reliable thing. Feel good with this, Brendan?
Yep.
Okay. Your trailer may not have a Murphy bed, but if it does, this is how you use it. Pop this down, unlock the lock on either side. That's it. Okay. And then you just bring the mattress up to put it away. Take the board up, put that away. Lock into place. Put your couch back. Okay. Not a sales video, but that is pretty easy as far as Murphy beds go. I like to see it in the opposition when traveling. A lot of floor plans you can't have it down with the slide closed anyways, so that's that. With your stovetop through here, alright, before you go try to light your furnace, your water heater, your fridge, anything like that, you always want to light your stovetop first. So we'll turn the propane on the outside, we saw that. I'm going to turn my burner on. It turns red when I have propane running, and I'm going to spark it. Really easy. If you haven't used your propane though in a month, a couple weeks, all winter, it may take a few minutes to get the gas there, so you may have to sit here and spark it for a little bit. If you go to try to light your fridge or your furnace first, there's not propane there yet and they just won't light, so always light your stovetop first. When you're using the stovetop, turn your fan on. That's just blowing out any excess heat, any carbon monoxide. You got to make sure you have that on when you're doing it. This is not a heating appliance, it's only a cooking appliance. Do not go to sleep with your burners on because you won't wake up. So this is the most dangerous part of the trailer. If you leave this on, you go to sleep, there's going to be carbon monoxide poisoning, and you just, like I said, you may not wake up there. So only use this for cooking and use it with the fan on. Our oven is new in the last couple of years. You don't have to use a lighter anymore, you can use the sparker. So we just take this, turn it to the flame indicator here, and hold this in. As I hold it in, it's allowing gas to go to the pilot. Then I just spark it. Okay, the light. Yep, we're lit. So I'm holding this in now. I'm letting the thermocouple kind of heat up. I do this for 20 seconds or so. Let it out, and then I should be able to turn it to whatever temperature I want. Okay. And if I'm going to use it a few times in the weekend, I can leave it on pilot. But if I'm only going to use it one time, I just shut it off. Okay. If for some reason the pilot light goes out, that thermocouple will cool down and shut off all gas to the stovetop. Or to the oven, so there's no risk there on the oven. These passports will have a 12-volt fridge only, or a gas electric fridge. Let's talk about the gas. This is a 12-volt. Let's talk about the gas electric fridge first. Basically, there's a switch. If you turn it to auto, it's going to automatically run on hydro if hydro is available. Once it come unplugged, it'll flip over to gas. There'll be another switch that's forced to go to gas. That's gas only. Pretty straightforward stuff. So auto is going to run hydro if it's available. If it's not available, flip over to gas automatically. Gas is gas only. We're used to that fridge. This is a newer style fridge, being a 12-volt fridge. To me, it seems a lot easier actually to operate it. So we just got ourselves an on-off button. Okay, so we just turn it on right over here. Then we can control the temperature in the fridge, which is indicating down here the lower part of it, and we can go up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or we can control the temperature in the freezer. Alright, push that over, up or down, whatever you want to do. And then there's a night mode. Okay, and I think that just keeps it what do you think that does, Brendan?
It was just probably that it just isn't pushing as much electricity or needing as much air because you're not opening it at all.
Yep, so we're going to go with that on night mode.
And I think it's opposite for the buttons. I think the one that's white is
good call.
The one that you're
you have to play around with that. Yeah. Anyways, that's how you control that and then turn it off if you don't want to use it. The bunks, nothing really to talk about here. The double bunks and passports are good for 300 pounds, so don't go over that.
You can show the door.
Yeah, you're right. So this is just going to fold up, and then we need to show this.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea here is that you can open this door up, bring your bikes in. It's a little unfortunate to have this here in this model, but these right here are your breakers and your fuses. Okay, you're not going to see it from there, but on the left-hand side, there's your breakers, and they're all labeled. On the right-hand side, there's a bunch of fuses, and they're all labeled as well. If the fuse is blown, there's a little red light that will light up. If the breaker's blown, it'll be just kind of look like it's kicked over like that. So if you have a problem with power, a light's not working, the microwave's not working, always come here first and see what's going on. Now, there's two more fuses here. They're 240s. If one of them is blown, Basically, this is their converter. So this is taking the 110 power, converting it to 12 volts. If one of those is blown or both of those are blown, it will stop converting power to 12 volts. So if you have a 12 volts not working at all when you're plugged into the trailer, it's most likely because these two 40 amp fuses are blown. They're not labeled and there's no light beside them, so you have to physically pull them out to check them. Quick little note, I'd probably have this door open to kind of have a look at that from the outside there.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yep. But just to rehash, those 40 amp fuses there, they're the main fuses for the converter. It's a fairly common thing to happen. If you hook your battery up backwards for whatever reason, or the positive lead on the frame touches the frame of the trailer, it will short out and pop those two 40 amp fuses. Alright, thermostat. A lot of people overcomplicate this. This is just really easy. We push the mode button and it will go through all the modes. So the first mode is fan, and this is the fan on the AC, and we can just control that high or low, or auto. Auto means it will operate as it needs to with the AC running. We push mode again, it'll go to cool. If we were above 55 degrees, which I don't know if we are, Brennan, basically the AC would kick on. We can then adjust the temperature however cold we want to have it. Okay. Push mode again. We have the furnace. I guarantee you we're below 90 degrees today. It's a little bit chilly. So the fan's going to kick on, which we hear now. If you're on the outside of the trailer, you'll hear like a click, 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 and that's the sparker trying to light the propane. Like I said, if you try to light this first right away, basically it won't light because gas isn't there at the gas valve yet, so always light your burners first. I don't know if you can hear in the camera there the difference there. When it went from fan to flame, there's kind of like a roar there. That's how you know your furnace is running. After I push mode and I shut this off, I just go to off position. The flame will go out. Listen for that. And then the fan will continue to run for a minute and a half afterwards to blow in the excess heat. With the washroom, you have a GFI right here, so all your GFI plugs, so the outside plug, the plugs by the kitchen, all of that will be controlled from this location right here. If it's tripped, there's a little red light that lights up. To reset it, you just push reset. Okay. Always leave water in the toilet bowl. That will keep the stink down into the tanks and the pipes and out of your trailer. So you always want to leave a couple inches in the bowl. That's key. You do have a shut off here on the shower head, so if you're trying to conserve water, you can get your water on you, wet yourself up, turn that off right here, lather up, and then turn it back on to turn the water on. That way you can kind of save some water when you have back-to-back showers. Okay. Can you think of anything else, Brendan? Yeah,
we have the override for the slide.
Ah, good call. Thank you. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that here in a second. I want to talk about the TV first, because I need to get a part out there for the override. So the reason I'm pulling this out, and you should have your TV strapped in for when you're traveling. But the reason I'm pulling this out is there's a couple things here. Okay, so this right now is hooked up to the cable/antenna. Okay, so if you're using cable/antenna, you have this hooked up to here. If you're using the satellite from the outside, you're gonna hook this up to your receiver, okay, and the receiver out, like if you're using the satellite, and then this to your receiver, okay. So that's the only spot here for satellite. Cable will spread out a couple different spots, but if you're using cable or antenna, you hook it up right there. And then that makes sense there from the outside. Cool. All right, let's just take a break here, Brendan, find that part, and then we'll do the slide. All right, guys. So we're back. So Passport does not include that tool I was looking for anymore. So basically, you're going to need to get yourself a Robertson bit, a number 4 Robertson bit. So it's a really large Robertson bit here. And what you got to do to bring this is only to bring the slide in manually. So this is like worst case scenario, right? You take this piece of trim off right here. It's nailed on, and then you'll have access to the slide out motor itself. And basically, you have to have a drill with this bit. Put the drill into the bit into the drill. Put the drill into the end of the motor and bring the slide out in manually. There used to be like a flexible tool that came with the trailer. It doesn't come with anymore. I checked out the Passports here. That you could do it kind of around the corner like that. So that's kind of what you're doing there. That's the end of the tour, or like the how-to video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Please like that video if you appreciate what we've done today. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more and more stuff like this. You can email us at sales@layzeeacres.com, or you can call us at 705-833-2539. Have a good day.